Hi, Year Nines. I'm just going to make you a little video so that you can know what you're doing for our last in-class assessment task on environmental worldviews. Just bear with me while I share the screen. Right. So hopefully you guys can see this. Year 9 Humanities, Term 4, Week 8. Solo is basically our learning intention is to know about the different types of environmental worldviews. I'll let you pause the video here so that you can read through the solo rubric and decide where you are at the moment. Worldviews. So today we're going to have a look at the various environmental worldviews and identify the one that you relate to. We are classifying worldviews in two ways, as either human-centered or earth-centered. In terms of human-centered worldview, what we are further subclassifying that into either egocentric human-centered worldview or an anthropomorphic human-centered worldview. Egocentric means I am the most important creature on earth. Everything and everyone else is important to the extent that they support me and my lifestyle. An anthropocentric, it should be, humans are the most important species. We are in charge of the earth and the natural world. We can use nature to support us and our lifestyle. On the other side, we have an earth-centered worldview, which is ecocentric or biocentric. We further split that into two subcategories, ecocentric and biocentric. In the ecocentric earth-centered worldview, we should do whatever we can to minimize our impact and preserve the Earth's biodiversity. We are no more important than any other organism. In the biocentric earth-centered worldview, we have a responsibility to use the Earth's resources in a sustainable way. Other species may be useful to us, but they also have just as much right to exist as what we do. What I would like you to do now is in your humanities book, I would like you to write down a table with 6 rows and 2 columns. In your first column, I want you to write down the people that are listed here. We've got a developer, property developer, a greenie or a hippie. You can see my little Lego hippies there. A young person, an Indigenous owner of land, a young mother or somebody, young who's got children. And the last person that I would like you to write down in the 6th row is a 14 to 15-year-old Chaffey Secondary College student. I want you to pause the video here and think about what sort of worldview might these people have. Now, if we look at the property developer to start with, if we go back to, I think, a human-centered worldview, I think you could pretty much say that property developers probably are in terms of the anthropomorphic or anthropocentric human-centered worldview. You could possibly argue that a couple of the more sustainable property development firms out there are possibly more biocentric in that they have a responsibility to use the Earth's resources in a sustainable way. And I definitely think that the building industry as a whole is probably moving more so in that direction. A greenie. Think about what's a hippie going to be? Ecocentric, potentially? Okay. I want you to pause the video here and go through and do the young person, Indigenous owner of the land, a young mother, and the Chaffey student. Okay, let's read. I'm going to stop sharing this for a second. I'm going to do a new share of my textbook here. This is straight from your textbook. This is available for you on Google Classroom. This is page 76. This is the first PDF that's available for you on Google Classroom, which is under Term 4, Week 8, Worldviews. And I'll just read this out to you. In December 2011, Miranda Gibson, a 30-year-old school teacher, built a platform in a tree 60 metres above the forest floor in Tasmania's Styx Valley. She then set up home on the platform and vowed not to leave it until the tree and the surrounding forest had been granted protection from logging companies. Armed with a laptop and wireless internet connection, she wrote a daily blog, which was viewed by tens of thousands of supporters. She also made the news around the world. Despite freezing cold, snow, and rain, she remained up in the tree for 449 days, an Australian record, and was forced down only when a nearby bushfire threatened her safety. While she had many supporters around the world, she also had many critics. At one stage, a pro-logging group camped at the base of the tree to protest against her protest. Why is it that some people become so passionate about preserving the natural environment, while others do not? For example, one person can look at a rainforest and see the beauty of nature, whereas the person standing beside them can only see the money to be made by turning the tree into timber. We can see these differences all over the world, wherever the natural environment is changing. Studies show that different people view the environment in different ways because of the fundamental beliefs that they hold about human beings and our place in the natural world. The reasons for holding these beliefs are very complex, but it appears that where we live, our standard of living, our education, and our religion all play important roles. Although each person's view of the world is unique, researchers have managed to classify them into 4 major groups, as you can see here in source 2. It's important to understand that one view is not necessarily better or worse than another. It is simply different. Okay, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. What I need you guys to do for me is look at the second PDF, which is on the Google Classroom, and it has some questions on it. I need you to answer questions 1, 2, 3, which is broken up into 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, and question 4 into your humanities book. You'll find that lots of these questions, in fact, quite a number of them, directly correspond to questions that are on your assessment task. So if you have a good go at answering these, you can pretty much use the same answers for your assessment task. And in fact, I'm quite happy for you to do that. Once you have finished these in your humanities book, you are to grab a printed copy of the assessment task and make a start on this. I am going to give you probably half a session next week in order just to finish off this assessment task. So the expectation is that you finish most of this today. So the expectation is that you are working individually on this. This is an assessment task, so it is an individual task. So the expectation is that you are working on this on your own. I don't want to come back to finding out that we've spent half a lesson again getting started. That's not a good spend of your time. It's not a mature way to approach our studies. And I know that you guys can do the right thing and you know what you've got to do. So if you have any questions, please email me. I'm around and I'll try and get back to your email as soon as I can. Other than that, good luck with your assessment task, and I will see you all next week.